Ellis Beefeaster's Radio Aircheck and Classic TV channel.
Leader Alan Bosak, whose head police shoved in a tow sack, and speaking real gruff as they snapped on the cuffs, said, "Let's go downtown to see Kojak." Sorry about that. Partial election returns indicate an overwhelming mandate for the re-election of the president of Senegal. Senegal considers itself a model of democracy in Africa. But then most Senegalese still think the world is held up by a turtle. A special legislative assembly meets in Indonesia today to re-elect President Suharto to a fourth five-year term as head of the world's third most populous country. Wait a minute. Is it the third five-year term in the world's fourth most populous country? Oh, wait. It's the fourth three-year term in the fifth most populous. I'm not sure. Iraq reports many people died when Iranian missiles slammed into Baghdad before dawn. In the United States, hundreds of people are reported to have given themselves headaches trying to get even a little bit concerned about it. Meanwhile, in Washington, some senators are urging President Reagan to withhold U.S. support for the government in Panama, where military strongman Manuel Noriega has sneezed powder. Oh, I'm sorry, that should be seized power. The Hong Kong stock market collapsed today. Thousands died. Good. An organizer of demonstrations in Armenia the last 2 weeks says there will be no protest today because demonstrators have given the Kremlin a deadline. He says Soviet leaders have until March 1st, would be today, to hand over control of a disputed Armenian territory. Russian leaders said they'd get right on that.
Yeah.
And finally, the bodies of a family of four have been found in their home near Pittsburgh, where police say a 54-year-old man shot and killed his wife, their two children, and then himself. He left a note asking God for forgiveness. Police said God called a couple hours later and said no.
There's only one place for Imus in the morning. 66 WNBC.
Should have heard the one at 6. It's coming up on 7:58, 2 till 8 o'clock. I'm into the morning, that's who I am. And I will always be like this. WNBC weather, mostly sunny, high 40 to 45. Clear and cold, low in the mid-20s. It's 32 now in New York.
This morning, we're with Mr. Irvin World, founder of the Coffee World chain of gourmet coffee stores. Mr. World, the bean business is booming.
Well, these beans from Botswana get me $60 a pound.
Oh, my.
And there are these classic beans from Greece, $90 a pound.
Whatever you're brewing for us this morning has a very rich aroma. So rich, I'm actually waking up.
Oh, that's a coffee made with mountain-grown beans.
Mountain-grown?
That's right, yes. Mountain-grown beans are the richest, most aromatic kind.
Delicious. Now, what is this coffee called? What was that?
Folgers.
Mountain-grown Folgers coffee?
Yes, but this isn't for broadcast. It would devastate my business.
Well, Mr. World, you have endorsed mountain-grown Folgers as your morning coffee, and millions of people have heard us nationwide.
Oh, did I say Folgers? I meant Holgers. You see, it's important in coffee etiquette to hold your cup with the pinky outstretched.
Mm-hmm.
And remember, sip, don't slurp.
New York Telephone presents the Keep in Touch call.
Hi, Katie. It's Grandma. I hear you've been very busy lately. What have you been doing?
When you feel like talking to someone you're close to, there's no reason to wait. Just pick up the phone and call.
Oh, my. You've started piano lessons and ballet and karate.
Call that special person and see what a difference it can make in your day. It shouldn't make a difference in your budget. With New York Telephone's new lower rates, it costs less to use the phone for 95% of all calls made within your regional calling area, no matter which long-distance company you use.
When I was your age, Katie, ballet and piano meant the world to me. You make me so proud. Now, tell me about this karate.
A call can make a difference. New York Telephone, a NYNEX company.
This
is news from 66 WNBC, New York.
I'm Charles McCord. Here's what's happening at 8 o'clock. The 7 members of the New Jersey State Parole Board could decide as early as today whether or not one Thomas Trantino will walk out of prison a free man. 25 years ago, Trantino murdered 2 Lodi police officers during a robbery in a bar. And last month, a 2-member parole panel ruled Trantino should be released. The New Jersey Assembly takes exception to that. Members have passed a resolution saying it would be a gross miscarriage of justice to release Trantino, who was responsible for especially brutal point-blank shootings. Assemblyman William Schuber sponsored the resolution.
We are so shocked that a man who's committed a crime of the nature that this individual has done would ever be considered given the possibility of freedom and through parole. And the fact that 2 parole board members had reviewed his matter and thought he was a fit subject for parole was one of utter shock, horror, and incomprehension on the part of myself and other members of the legislature. And we think that it serves a purpose to remind the board and to remind the public what this individual did do. And that this is not some abstract crime that we can forgive because the individual happens to be able to paint pictures and write books.
Meantime, the most massive turnout of law enforcement ever for the funeral of a New York City police officer occurred in Seaford, Long Island yesterday, where 10,000 strong they buried Edward Byrne, the rookie cop so cold-bloodedly slain last Friday guarding the home of a Queens drug case witness. The killing engendered all sorts of response from public officials demanding that the Reagan administration do more to try to turn the tide of drugs flowing into this country. In the Queens neighborhood where Byrne died, residents say the tide there has become a flood.
It's gotten worse over the past couple of years, and it's kind of unbearable. Everybody in the neighborhood feels for that officer, because he was a very nice officer. We would walk by and he would say hello all the time. He's a nice man.
Senator Al D'Amato says hit Panama, which all agree has become a cocaine conduit under strongman Noriega, with some tough trade restrictions.
I would say that within a matter of weeks, Noriega would fall if we had the courage to bring about that trade embargo.
Organizers say they hope today will be a better one for the strike they called against the Panamanian military government trying to put more pressure on Noriega. The Middle East mission continues. That story from NBC's Gary Nunn.
Packed and heading for Brussels to prep for the superpower summit in Moscow, President Reagan will spend a couple of days with NATO officials there, ready to assure the alliance he will seek parity of conventional arms in Europe. Secretary of State Schultz in London for talks with King Hussein of Jordan says that the Middle East peace plan he's carrying is not dead. General strike day 2 in Panama. So far, the impact is next to nil. Lawmaking on the back burner, the Arizona Senate hears opening testimony in the impeachment trial of Republican Governor Evan Mecham. Mecham charged with a variety of offenses. The Assemblies of God Council Church in Louisiana is reviewing its punishment of evangelist Jimmy Swaggart for his admitted indiscretions with a hooker. That secret review was sent to the National Church Council. Swaggart was ordered out of the pulpit for 3 months to undergo rehabilitation for his sins. Officials in Las Vegas have drawn the line. Slot machines installed from now on may not be put in laundries, bakeries, fast fooderies, movie theaters, or professional offices. From the NBC Radio Network newsroom, I'm Gary Nunn.
The WNBC weather, mostly sunny day, the high 40 to 45, 32 degrees right now.
Far be it from me. I'm a wanting to criticize anyone.
What are you talking about?
However, Nancy Reagan, who I've never suspected that a lot was going on up there between those 2 little ears of hers, was on with Ted Koppel last night on Nightline. And he was asking her about her war on drugs. And it was not a good time for her. She didn't have a lot of answers to almost anything. And he asked her, he said, well, it's one thing to say, just say no, but a lot of people, especially young people, make fun of that and think it's stupid. And he said, it's the people you want to reach, but just saying no doesn't appear to be working. What else do you think we should do? And Nancy Reagan said, well, we should appeal to their families and they should receive instruction in school and other types of education. And Ted said, well, many of these people, in fact, the majority of young people who are on drugs and seem to be having problems come from either have no families or come from broken homes and are homes that offer less than a stable foundation. And the majority of them are not even in school. And Missing those two elements in the foundation for their recovery from drug abuse, you then are missing also education. He said, what would you say, what do you think we should do with those people who really appear to be the majority of young people and other people who are on drugs? And she said, I don't know. That was all. And it got to the point where she referred to herself as Nancy Davis. She and the president, she and the old nut, who I voted for twice, by the way, and who hosed me on this. I tell on Charles left right, and I met with Robert Andrews last week of the Vincent Andrews Financial Management Corporation.
Was it a pleasant day?
Who handles my affairs and have for years, for 15 years, and done a wonderful job, by the way. Right. And he explained to me how President Reagan screwed me on my taxes for last year, and eliminated a lot of little sweetheart deals I was involved in. And I didn't start this life with a lot of money. I didn't start with any money. So I don't want to hear anybody whining about me complaining about paying taxes. I'm not complaining about it. I just don't like getting hosed after I voted for this old nut twice. Anyway, she was going to be married to this old nut, as I started to say. 36 years on Friday. And she referred to herself by her maiden name last night. And she did one of these things. Oh, I just... And slapped herself on the head, and her eyes rolled around like a couple of Donald Trump slot machines. And she said, I just don't know what came over with me. But she did not do well with Ted. And Ted was, you can imagine, Ted was not beating up on her. No, it'd be very sympathetic. But it was both to her and the cause. And she just started... And he said, well, don't you think the president has to get, and I agree with Ed Koch 1,000%, that we have to tell goons like this Noriega that we're not going to continue to do business with them and allow them to import drugs into this country. And we could say, for example, Noriega, we're not going to give you back to Panama Canal. And he would say, well, then, but we have a treaty. And we would say, shut up and go away and drive a cab, you little goon. That's all. Just tell them we're not going to, what are they going to do about it? Nothing. We have to stop doing business with countries around the world who manufacture and import drugs, and rather than going around with stupid little slogans like just say no, just say shut up. She didn't have any answer for that. She didn't have any answer for anything. Ross Frank with the latest from the WNBC Traffic and Transit Network, and Don Crickey, who just says yes. That's Marv Albert. Well, one of them. They're coming up.
The WNBC news time is now nearly 8 minutes after 8 o'clock. Enter now for the Imus in the Morning cash line and a chance to win your share of over $100,000. Plus, every entry is eligible to win a 1988 Dodge Daytona Shelby Z, furnished by Bob Thomas Dodge City in Ansonia, Connecticut. Complete details are coming up this hour on 66 WNBC.
NBC. 66 WNBC.
I was just explaining to Charles I was a lot kinder to Nancy Reagan than I would normally have been had she not been a sympathetic character, because she was, along with being ill-informed, she was a little snippy last night. Tire sales. How do you know what's really a sale? Well, it's when a company with a great reputation for value offers you its best-selling premium all-season steel radial tires at the lowest possible price. Well, that's how STS car service centers work, where you can save $40 on a set of Bridgestone S402 all-season radio. That's what they do, $40 deal. STS has 34 convenient locations throughout New Jersey, offering you this great savings on tires for nearly all makes and models, foreign or domestic. Long-mileage Bridgestone S402 radios give your car great traction, superior handling, and a plush ride. At STS Car Service Centers, they spent nearly 30 years building customer trust and confidence by providing you with top-quality products like Bridgestone tires and written warranties, rather than a promise. This $40 savings on Bridgestone tires will end March 31st, so you should hurry. Check your local newspaper or Yellow Pages for the STS Car Service Center nearest you. STS is the Shadow Traffic sponsor. I will buy you a set of these tires that I was talking about in this commercial if you can tell me the model number of tire, the official name of the tire that I just talked about in this commercial. I just want to prove a point here. Can you?
Bridgestone SD 402s.
No, that's not what it was.
Bridgestone SD420s.
No, that's not it. That's my point. It doesn't. You just want a set of tires for your car, don't you?
Bridgestone,
no.
LMS 06s.
You were pretty close. It's the S402.
S402.
Yeah. It's 10 after 8. I'm Mr. Morning. Here's Don Crickey with sports. Good morning, Don.
Morning, Don.
Let's do Don first, then we'll do her. A little change of pace here. Keep them off guard, babe.
Everyone in that camp, Don, is raving about pitcher Dwight Gooden.
Huh.
Teammate Darryl Strawberry thinks that Gooden will be the equal to Dwight Gooden we saw in 1985 when Dr. K dominated the National League. 24 wins and 4 losses, a 1.53 earned run average, 268 strikeouts in 276 innings.
Wow.
Gooden, of course, has not come close to those numbers since. Gooden said he won't press as hard this season. He'll be in great shape. He'll relax on the mound, and he, too, goes along with Strawberry. He thinks 1985 numbers could come back.
All right.
Donald Trump has pulled out of buying the financially troubled NFL team, the New England Patriots, saying the NFL is trying to co-opt him, maybe by getting him in the club, getting him to go away. The 19-year-old captain of the U.S. Olympic hockey team, Brian Leach, played his first game for the New York Rangers last night. Both did well. Leach assisted on the score as the Rangers beat St. Louis 3-2 at the Garden. The Islanders and Jersey Devils were off. Montreal edged Quebec 2-1. The Knicks and Nets were off. As you've heard, Willis Reed was named the coach of the slumping Nets yesterday as expected. The former Knicks captain hopes for the best the rest of the season from a club that's lost 42 at 54 games. One problem he'll have to deal with is the health problem his cousin has. Orlando Woolridge's cousin of Willis Reed is in drug rehab. Willis talked about that.
I don't want to consider myself a savior for anybody, but I think that I have the patience and understanding to work with anyone that want to be helped. And I think that Orlando has obviously made that decision already by going into a rehab situation. So, I think he has made the big step.
Ex-Nick Gerald Henderson hit a driving shot at the buzzer to give Philadelphia a 1-point win over Chicago, 102-101. St. John's was a 15-point winner over Connecticut last night. And Georgetown beat Providence by 10. Here's Imus in the morning.
Well, Don Crickey, it's good to see that Willis Reed is so enthusiastic about Orlando Woolridge, because when I do sports at 6 and 6:30 in the morning, because you have decided not to do the sports because you wanted to be on network television.
Well, there was another commitment that we had to work in.
Yeah, so you just blew off the Imus morning program. Just,
I don't think that's the case at all.
You just dropped it like a hot potato, didn't you? I have to do sports, and we talked with Orlando Woolridge. And as I said, it's good to see Willis is pretty enthusiastic, and we wanted to get Orlando's assessment of his situation when he returns to the Nets. So, Orlando, Willis Reed has been named coach of the New Jersey Nets. And while you're here in the rehab, and thank you, by the way, for agreeing to talk with us, I'm wondering how that's going to affect your situation with the team, because you're...
Notice how the hair on your arm grows low, but if you stare at it, you can see it growing.
How the hair on your arm grows.
Or if you lie on your back and stare at the sun,
right,
you can see it move.
Mm-hmm.
It moves.
Okay, I think that's fine.
The sun goes around the earth.
I understand that.
Arm.
So Willis Reed now is a cousin of yours, is that right?
Yes, my hands look okay to you. It looks like the line.
Your hands look fine, Orlando. All right, well, thanks a lot, okay? So we think there's still some work to be done.
You didn't get a lot of basketball talk in.
No, we didn't. But last summer I talked like that last summer, and I talk better now.
And of course, there was the Imus the morning microphones in front of winning coach Lou Carnesecca last night. That was
that's true. But I'll tell you how well prepared we are in the Imus in the morning sports segment of the Imus in the morning program. We were prepared even if St. John's had lost. We had an opportunity to talk with Lou Carnesecca after last night. St. John's lost to Connecticut, and it doesn't seem like the team has it this year, does it?
They can't all be bad as you.
What?
They can't all be bad as you.
I know. Well, this is certainly not a banner year.
No, it's not.
No, it's not at all.
I think you can mind me.
Well, fine, but when Connecticut beat you, that's... Why did you lose?
I took out my kid, Baldy.
Baldy, the kid from Italy.
He thinks it's football.
He thinks it's football.
You don't understand?
I see. Yeah.
He fouled out.
He fouled out?
Before the second period.
I understand that, yeah. He didn't foul out last night, by the way.